That's what they do. Like the Chiefs for all their nonsense. Again, they're the 2000 Dodge Charger, okay? And they're they're not worried about going over the speed limit. They're not worried about taking the little Tokyo drift turn when the road's a little wet.
Right.
It's gonna get home. It's gonna get home, and that's what they do.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
Hello and welcome into That Football Show here on KC Sports Network. I'm Tucker Franklin, joined as always by Matt Verderame. Today's show obviously sponsored by Holiday Distillery, Ben Holiday Bottled and Bond Bourbon. Look, I got it right here. I just keep it on my desk, ready to go whenever. This is the KCSN Foundation barrel pick as well. So, good stuff on the KCSN postgame show. Took a little too big of a swig off of that. Yeah, large swig off of there. Celebrating the Chiefs doink win, doink for the division. Great call by Mike Tirico, by the way.
It was.
And you can't. And here's the thing too. You can't plan to say that. That's a very much in the moment. Great call by Mike Tirico. Got to give props where props due. He really is. But Matt, how you doing? The Chiefs win the division for the 9th straight year with a doinked field goal into the uprights by their third string kicker.
I feel like at this point the Chiefs are running out of ways to win a game. I feel like they're just inventing. All we're missing now is Trey Smith throwing a Hail Mary to Derek Nottie.
Ooh.
And it may not be out of their own possibility. I was for sure, I was sitting there when I saw this game in Cleveland, oh God, here comes the weather, right? That's the one thing we haven't hit yet this year. It's just an absolute train wreck of a game where the weather is insane.
Yeah.
And yet, if you look at the weather for Cleveland, the Chiefs probably going to get somewhat lucky. It's 45 degrees. Now it's going to pour, apparently, the entire game. At least that's the forecast right now.
Oh.
And the wind's going to be 20 miles an hour coming off the lake. So, might get a little bit of that. But, it's Cleveland. It could have been 10 degrees and snowing sideways all game long. So, take that into effect. I just think at this point with the Chiefs, nothing's out of the realm of possibility. Absolutely nothing.
I tweeted out before the game started. I think it was midday, on Sunday. How are the Chiefs going to win this game by one score? Just Carrington Harrison talked about this. Matt Lane has talked about this with Craig Stout on Monday's Laboratory. I think it is so crazy that every game that the Kansas City Chiefs play, Matt, is the exact same. No matter the level of competition, It is the exact same game. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
I would say, you know what? Your goal in life is to be consistent. You love the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just what they are. We were talking off air. I'm going to repeat this in a way that I can without getting fired. Okay. The Chiefs are like a car that you bought 20 years ago, like a muscle car. You bought a Dodge Charger, right? But an adult car. And when you bought that bad boy, you were in your prime. That car's in its prime. And you were, you were leaving that bar happy at night, right? And hopefully, not drunk if you were driving your Dodge Charger or any car for that matter. But let's put it this way: you're leaving the restaurant feeling good. Maybe you got a phone number. Your car's rolling. Everything's great. That was the Chiefs in 2019. In 2022. Now that car, muffler's rusting out a little bit. Got that little rust around the wheel wells.
Yep.
That when you hit 70 miles an hour, that you start hearing that crack in the manifold. There's a little bit of a little wobble.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That car's going to get you home. Okay. And I feel like that's the Chiefs at this point. That's the Chiefs. You're not going to rev the engine anymore and challenge somebody at the light and go 90 and go 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. It's going to take a little while to get that bad boy going. You might get passed by a couple Mazdas. But let me tell you something. When that Mazda up front at 20 miles ahead is broken down, okay, and they're waving somebody down, hey, please help because my Mazda went down. Your charge is going to go right on by, okay? And you feel real good about your chances getting home. And that's the Chiefs. They are a 2000 Dodge Charger that, by God, is going to get you home. And I feel like at this point, like, you're worried about the long-term ability of that vehicle, but in the short term, you know you could drive through Antarctica and get home because that bad boy's seen everything and it's done everything and it's going to be all right. And that is the 2024 Kansas City Chiefs.
I think that is. I don't want to overstate this, Matt, but I think that is the perfect analogy for this team and what it has become, because it's been all too predictable of what's going to happen in every game. And even though, we were talking about this off air, even though the Chiefs had a 13-0 lead against the Chargers, a very good Chargers defense, by the way.
Yeah.
They were moving the ball fairly well, had a couple of penalties to take them out of in the red zone. Like, again, the same story where they have some penalty from a tackle that takes them out of the red zone, or a sack that takes them out of a touchdown in the red zone, I should say, and they have to settle for a field goal. They had control of that game, and then the Chargers put two good drives together to take a lead, and you just felt in the moment when the Chiefs got the ball back with down 1 point that you're like, oh, it's fine. Even though the Chiefs didn't move the ball at all in the second half, but you're like, oh, they got the ball back with 5 minutes left? They're going to end the game with the ball. They're going to end the game by kicking a field goal. That's what you felt when they got the ball.
1,000%. Like, have you ever, if you haven't, we can move off this. Have you ever seen the movie Uncle Buck?
No, we talked about this.
Well, I asked you this.
And I had, you know how many people DM'd me and were like, you have to watch that movie? I had like 4 or 5 people text me and DM me say that.
Anybody out there who has watched the movie knows what I'm saying. The Chiefs are the car in Uncle Buck. Okay? And for you, since you haven't seen it, John Candy is Uncle Buck in the movie.
Okay, yeah.
And he has a stick. The car just backfires, and it sounds like a Civil War cannon going off. But the damn thing works, and he's got a sticker on the front that says abandoned auto. Uh-huh. Like, that is, anyway, that's them. No, listen, I mean, we were talking, like, when they got the ball back, as frustrating as they were, you're like, yeah, probably going to go win now. Like, they're just going to do something. And Mahomes makes 2 Mahomesian plays. And Samaje Perine makes the most underrated block of the year.
Yes.
I mean, just gets trucked into oblivion. But God love him. Stood away like a prize fighter. I mean, just knew he was going to get smoked and was like, all right, and did it. And Worthy doesn't get enough credit on that play for coming back and making a really nice play on the ball. Yep. And then, Kelsey does his old man routine on 3rd and 7 where he's supposed to run a corner route and just stops running and stands there. And literally, if you watch the play, stands still and does nothing for 2 straight seconds. Just is like, I'm here, throw it to me. I'm wide open, hit me. And then catches it and doesn't even try to get yardage. This is just like a lace hair and get hammered by some Chargers player. And that's fine, whatever. Like, it's just, they're so like most teams, they win a game, they're happy about it. The Chiefs, they show these like videos in the locker room after the game. The Chiefs look like they just found out their entire family is in a plane that, like, maybe doesn't have enough gas to land.
Right.
Like, it's just like, oh, my God. And Andy's got to constantly be like, guys, it's okay. You won. Like, I mean, it's I really think the playoffs will rejuvenate them. I could be dead wrong about that. Maybe this is just what they are. I think in the playoffs, they're going to be like, thank God. It finally matters. But they are unique, to say the least.
Well, here's the thing, too, is they start a stretch, or they're coming up on a stretch. I don't know if this game starts it, but they're coming up on a stretch of 3 games in 10 days. I believe it's actually Saturday's game against the Texans that starts that stretch with the last 3 games of the season, or it could be this game. I don't know.
It's this game.
It's this game? Okay.
Yeah.
So they're starting the stretch of 3 games in 10 days. That is unheard of in the National Football League. Chris Jones has already said he's still going to talk to the PA about it, which, look, we can have a conversation maybe on a separate podcast about the NFLPA. I've got some opinions on the NFLPA and their standing with how they handle things and what they prioritize and things like that. But nevertheless, I can't imagine heading into this game in Cleveland. You mentioned the weather. You mentioned the standing of this Cleveland Browns team of being a, well, not very good football team in terms of the record. They have 3 wins this year? 4 wins?
Yeah,
3 wins.
They're not good. They're not good.
Not a good football team. They're on their second quarterback, which probably should have been their first quarterback. In Jameis Winston. Look, if you guys listen to this podcast, you know I'm the biggest Jameis Winston fan I think that there is out there. He's the most fun quarterback to watch not play for your football team, I think. And if Trent McDuffie doesn't get a pick, it's never happening. If he doesn't get a pick on Jameis Winston in this game, he's never getting an interception.
Good call.
And we've talked about this, I think, all week on KC Sports Network. Chiefs defense has to force turnovers against this Cleveland Browns team because Jameis Winston is going to give you plenty of chances to force these turnovers. But back to your point about like the playoffs rejuvenating them, they're hitting a stretch here where they had a bye week in week 6. They were about to play 3 games in 10 days.
Yeah,
this is the dog days right here. This is the slug. You know, this is when real football starts in December. Like what Nate Taylor likes to say. Like, this is real football now because you have Andy Reid not giving you full injury reports after games. You got some of that, but right, yeah, he's all right.
He's close to his spine.
Yeah, he just a little tweak. He just needs a little bit. He'll be all right. You just get a bunch of that after games and everything like that. You're in real football now, but golly, like they are in the dog days right now. I can't imagine like this team, as beat up as they are, going into a game like this against the Cleveland Browns. It very much seems like a game where really anything can happen.
Yeah. This game is this game is the football version of playing like Russian roulette with 4 in the chamber and just being like, I don't know, who knows? Anything like, let's just, who knows? Like it's maybe you can tell I watched The Deer Hunter a couple days ago. But listen, anything's possible in this game. Anything is possible. Like Jameis could literally throw them out of this game in a quarter. Like he could just throw 3 picks in the first quarter and it's 20-0, and it's like this is finally the game the Chiefs win easily. And then there's the other version of this game, where Jameis has an out-of-body experience and throws for 430 yards and has like 3 touchdown passes and also like an obligatory pick because it's not a Jameis game. I'm just throwing the ball right at somebody. But like, who knows? That's what makes this game scary if you're a Chiefs fan. It's like, this is just one of these games. And the Browns have nothing to play for. So like they have nothing to lose. Like they can do whatever the hell they want. And it's a weird game. The weather might be crappy. But here's something on the other side of the coin here that I think is interesting. We're talking about this 3-game, 10-day stretch.
Mm-hmm.
They win this game. They win on Sunday. Buffalo's in Detroit this weekend.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's at Philly. There's a real world that the Chiefs walk out of this thing up 3 games on both those teams, which is the smallest gap they would have in the AFC. And then if they went and beat Houston at home on the 21st, on Saturday, 21st, they would clinch the 1 seed.
Yep.
I would be willing to wager a substantial amount of money if they do that. They're going to sit everybody on Christmas. And the NFL and Netflix are going to have a heart attack. But it's going to happen. Because I think the players are basically going to be like, screw you guys.
Yep.
We're not playing in that game. And if you're Andy Reid, why the hell would you make him?
Yep.
What reason is there? Sit everybody, use it as a bye week, play a quarter to 2 quarters against Denver, and then just go to the playoffs.
Yep.
I mean, if I were the Chiefs, I'd be like, guys, enjoy Christmas. Don't even worry about it.
Yep.
Like, have a great time. We're not even game planning for this game. We're just going to, we're going to use this game to evaluate some younger guys, give some other guys some reps, whatever. And if Pittsburgh wins, cool, fine. Not a problem. Doesn't matter. If it hurts Baltimore, that's Baltimore's problem. Like,
yep.
I think if you're the Chiefs, I really do feel that way. like you lay down like a dog in that game. Now, maybe that does not become an option. Maybe they can't do that, whatever.
Right.
But if it is an option, I think if you're the Chiefs, do it. You just say, you know what? We're not going to put ourselves in that position because that's when guys get hurt. I just think if you're Kansas City and you can avoid it by any means, you avoid it.
I think that this could be a way for, as I mentioned, the NFLPA and just the players in general. The NFL is going to do whatever they can to make as most money as possible. I know that they like to say that they are very for player safety and they are finding people for like hits and everything like that. Yeah, they're not. They're playing a game on a Wednesday this year after a Saturday game. So they don't care about player safety. And I think that this would be the only way to get the NFL's attention, is that if the Chiefs do have the 1 seed locked up, and this would be a way for the players to be like, hey, you know what, guys? We're not doing this. We're not playing on Christmas on a specialized channel, on a specialized streaming service on the middle of the week. We don't have to, so we're not going to.
I would pay to see the people at Netflix when they found out that the Chiefs were doing this, and then they also realized that they have unrefundably hired 87 analysts to work these games.
Why do there so many people? Why are there so many people for 2 football games?
I hate to say it because I'm friends with like a decent amount of people but I'm like, how many fucking people do you need? Like, how many sidelines do you think there are in this game? Like, are we gonna? Okay, so for anyone who's never watched this, because it has always cracked me up. People may know out there that Canada's big fan of hockey.
They do like hockey, yeah.
Big hockey, and right here, big hockey guy. Okay, so when July 1st rolls around, RB is worried about the NBA's free agency. I'm worried about the NHL free agency, although now the Knicks are going to worry about both. But in any event, so I used to watch the TSN feed, okay, because enough of this weak shit with ESPN where they've got, one guy in a basement basically. Although now that they've got a contract, now they're more involved, but like for years, I didn't care.
Yeah.
TSN, they'd break into what they called free agency frenzy. There was like a multi-tiered desk. Like they had like risers like behind, and like multiple desks. And then they had another section called like, I can't remember what it was called. It was like the insiders. And then there was another section in the situation room.
Yeah.
And it was just panic. Like it was like watching, like it was like if the New York Stock Exchange, on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, they were breaking free agency news. It's insane. Like they'd cut to a shot and Bob McKenzie'd be like, Milan Hajduk 5-20. And you're like, okay. And then they just cut to another scene. There'd be somebody's on the phone, like screaming at somebody for information. I feel like Netflix is trying to recreate that scene. Like, are we going to get a 2-tiered like pregame show, and then like a 2-tier pregame desk show, and then like on top of that, and then they like pivot, and there's 3 people at a desk like crunching the analytics, in real time. Like, who asked for this many people for a telecast? Like, CBS does this every week, and they have like 3 people tops.
Mm-hmm.
And Netflix is like, no, we need 20. All right, let's see how it plays out. But I have doubts. I've got my reservations.
It's going to be the biggest desk of all time. I just want them to do one big desk with all those people around it.
It's like one of those daises from like the Dean Martin roast where it's just, it's just 20 people wide. You can't get the whole thing in one camera shot. It'd be good.
Yeah, I saw that list. Star-studded list. Great people, but a lot of people is the what is the initial
godly amount of people, like to the point that you're like, what's happening?
Yeah, I was like, wait.
And then like Mariah Carey is on NFL Christmas Game Day Live, so we got that.
I didn't tell you that.
That's happening. But yeah, like there's a whole, okay, so here, I had to find the graphic. I had to do it.
Yeah.
22 people.
For 2 games. That's 11 people per game.
And like, I'm not trying to be that guy, and I'm not going to name names, but like, there's a handful of people on here. I'm like, Why? Like, what are we doing? Why? You know? Like, I don't understand what the point is exactly. I mean, like, one guy responded, Tony 1028 just says, Jesus, how I long for the old NFL Today and Summerall and Madden. I'm like, yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. I think I'm probably with you. You know, I just, like, I don't know, man. It's a lot. And like I said, like, there's some people in there that I know that I've gotten to know over the years. I'm really happy for them that they're getting the shot. But there's other people. I'm like, not that I'm not happy for them, but
Yeah.
like, here, I'll say, like, because he's a player, so I don't feel bad about saying this. Like, why is Drew Brees on this?
Yeah.
Nothing against Drew, nothing personal, but, like, why? Like, because my point is, like, you've got Nate Burleson, who does an awesome job. Like, Nate's the man, right?
Phenomenal. Yes. He's very good.
Job. J.J. Watt's been awesome.
Oh, he's been really
He's done a
good.
great job. You know, the McCourty brothers, like, they do right. So, like, it's nothing against Drew, but it's like, why do we need, like,
Another play.
another guy? We also have RG3, right? Like, who's got, like, a pretty big background in this. We've got, according to Greg Olson's a little different because he's a color analyst. But, like, feels like a lot. It's just it's like when Trump put out, like, the initial, like, we're gonna have, like, a government efficiency task force, and then he named 2 people to run it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if Trump's doing that because he's just like it's just like he's trying to be funny. I'm like,
Look, I mean,
you're literally creating an efficiency model, and then we're like, 2 guys are gonna run it.
yes.
And before anybody goes out there, it's like, oh, politics. Breathe. It's a joke.
Yes.
But yeah, Netflix, 22 people. That's a lot of people for 2 freaking games.
Yeah, it is. And there's, you didn't even get into the comedians. I think Bert Kreischer's on that list too. And
It's on that list.
I can't wait to hear him have to break down Carson Wentz film, on Christmas. We're gonna start a campaign, Carson for Christmas, is what the campaign's gonna be if the Chiefs do a clip.
It will be so funny with everybody, and it's just like, yeah, whatever. Merry Christmas, Netflix.
It's a road game. What if Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce don't travel?
They're just posting Instagram photos with, like, the family. Like, hey, yeah, you know, like, Kelsey's in Ohio, hanging out with Donna and Ed, and, you know, Jason and his wife and the kids, and, you know, Taylor Swift's there, and then, like, Mahomes is just home with the kids, and yeah, I'm not kidding.
The day before the game, they announce him as out.
It would be so funny if they did that. It was like, yeah, we don't care. That's great. We can lose by 50. Have fun. Enjoy this game.
Yeah, it could be like,
oh my god,
that inactive list could be the most star-studded inactive list. Patrick Mahomes, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, and DeAndre Hopkins.
Here it is, boys. I mean,
like what you see in Week 18. Truthfully, is like they'll use that last Week 18 game as like a preseason game if they do that on Christmas. Which, look, again, like, we'll have another week to talk about this. They do still have to win this week against the Browns, and they do have to beat the Texans as well for this to happen.
And they got to get the Bills, the Steelers. The Steelers almost certainly will. They also play the Ravens on the road. Yeah, the Bills will have to lose. Right?
Yes. The Bills will have to lose, which, I mean, that game. We'll talk about the Bills here coming up in a little bit, but we've got some stuff to talk about with the Bills, and
yes, we do.
You know what? I want to get some stuff off my chest about Josh Allen as well. So we've got plenty to talk about.
All right.
Yeah. Look,
well, let's go to the damn break.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go to the break. On the other side, we'll talk to Benny and his picks. We'll get his picks, and then we'll talk. We'll talk about these Buffalo Bills coming up next.
Shop Chiefs tickets and more with no fees. Plus, save big with code KCSN at ticketsforless.com, the official ticket provider of KC Sports Network.
Back on That Football Show, Benny Heisler joining Matt Verderame and myself, talking some picks. Benny, how you doing?
What's up, fellas? Everybody doing well?
What's going on? I have half the voice. Otherwise, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. My voice has been in and out, but I think maybe people would say that that's just my voice. So at least you know that yours is coming back. We'll see if mine ever fully returns.
It really is the season of getting sick. A lot of people are getting sick. Kent Swanson was out on Monday's laboratory. Haley Lewis fighting through with a fever on Chiefs News Daily. I bet you guys didn't even know that if you were watching Chiefs News Daily.
Everybody fought through it except Kent.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yes, 100%. 100%.
Kiss a lot of Doc is pay.
I think so. But I've been fighting through some stuff as well. Obviously, if you can, I'm coming through on the better end of it. But yeah, I think you make a great point, Matt. Only Kit was the only one that didn't get to fight through. But Benny's here to give us some of his picks for this week of NFL action on Underdog. Go check them out if you haven't already. Use that promo code KCSN and get your free pick plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash with that code KCSN. Benny, we got a 3-pack of picks this week. What are we starting off with?
We do. Let's get another Thursday night game in the mix for this week over on Underdog. And how about George Kittle to go higher than 4.5 receptions in their divisional matchup against the LA Rams? It's actually a matchup historically over the last several years. Between two guys that worked together for a long time, have a rich history, and many teams have attempted to try to grab some branches from the collective Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay trees that have been planted amongst the forests of the NFL, so to speak. But I like Kittle. I think this is a really reasonable number against a Rams defense that, even though they've been significantly better over the last several weeks, and we thought this Rams defense beginning of the season might be one of the worst secondaries in the league. But I still expect them to target George Kittle in large part because the splits with and without Christian McCaffrey in the lineup for Kittle are pretty enormous. So Kittle had a 14.5% target share with McCaffrey last year. But when he's off the field, that number goes all the way up to 22.7%. He was also leading San Francisco in receptions and targets and also receiving yards before McCaffrey came back off of IR. And now that he's likely going back on IR, probably done for the year, he had a terrific game against the Bears in the quitting effort last week, had 151 yards in the mix as well. One other thing to consider is that even though the Rams defense has been pretty good against tight ends, the way in which San Francisco uses Kittle is not just out of that tight end spot, but they'll also use him out wide. They'll use him in the slot. And he runs the bulk of his routes from that spot too. So 4.5 receptions, I think that's a reasonable number. You can also go to Underdog and do higher than 6 targets. And in fact, now that I think about it, that might be my preferred play. But really, you can go either way. George Kittle higher than 4.5 receptions, or George Kittle higher than 6 targets in the Thursday night affair tonight.
I'm gonna save my voice and say that I'm with you. Sounds good. I look, the Rams can't cover anybody, so I'm all for taking some props on guys doing very well in the 49ers passing game. That, and again, the Niners have me at running back at this point. So those two things combined with a game that should be high scoring, I would not be surprised if this is a big passing day for the Niners.
Yeah, absolutely. Benny, next pick you have here is a little bit of a sneak peek of maybe what you're going to have on your 5 things segment as well later on in the week. You're going to Kansas City and Cleveland for this one.
Yeah, and a name that I think most people, when you're looking for, like, who should I start in fantasy this week, or all my running backs are hurt, maybe not necessarily the guy that you're going to want to gravitate to off the waiver wire, but I do think he's actually set up to be okay, and that's Jerome Ford of the Cleveland Browns. I like him to go higher than 25.5 rushing yards against the Chiefs this week. I always like to try to see, how does this play up to the market and different projections, and where does Underdog's number come in versus, say, the rest of the betting market? According to the good folks over at Rhythm, Jerome Ford, the highest difference to market projection that they have versus where he's currently at, they have him projected for 40 plus rushing yards this week. That's a 71.7% difference according to their projection. In the last several weeks, his usage, even though Nick Chubb has been on the field, has gone way up. They're using him more both as a pass catcher and also as an inline runner. Had better numbers, 41 yards against Denver, 28 against Pittsburgh. Had multiple attempts, double-digit carries in those games. Also has gone to the over on his projections in the last 3 games. So this is somebody in Ford that they're going to use often. And there's a couple reasons for that, despite the Chiefs having a solid run defense this year. The first is that Chubb, coming back from injury, just has not been the same Nick Chubb that we're used to seeing him be. And Ford has actually been a little bit better on the ground. The second thing is Jameis. If you can contain, it's you know what's the expression that people used to say about Michael Jordan is like, you can't stop him, you can only hope to contain him. It's kind of like that way for Jameis, except it's not by sheer dominance. You're just trying as a offensive staff in Cleveland to contain the interceptions and the pick sixes and the terrible turnovers to go along with some of the brilliance that occasionally shows up for Jameis Winston as well. They're really trying to do everything they can to keep him from turning the ball over. You saw the passing yards numbers last week against Pittsburgh, really not much. They wanted to open up play action, and I think against Kansas City, they're going to want to do more of the same. A lot of opportunities on the ground, open up play action passes. You've seen the emergence of Jerry Jeudy this year. So I look at Jerome Ford and say, this is a guy that's probably going to get upwards of 7 to 11, 12 carries on the ground. And if you just clear 25.5 rushing yards, that's a very reasonable number to clear even against a good Chiefs rush defense.
It's the Chiefs. Anything is in play. God only knows. Like, I don't think I've ever been more excited and terrified for a game. I mean, you've got on one hand the Chiefs, who anything is in play every time they step on a football field. And they are meeting Jameis Winston, where everything is in play on every single play. Like, this is like if you took a roulette wheel and just spun it 90 times for a football game and just said, let's see what happens. Like, the Chiefs should win. God only knows. I think you're a brave man for betting anything on this game. I would be horrified. Just any outcome is on the board. Anything. I wouldn't be surprised if Chubb ran for 5 yards or 150 just based on, the Chiefs decide to bring like a 12-man blitz on 3rd and short. The guy pops one for 90. Like, I don't know. Who knows? I am fascinated by this game.
That's why you listen to Benny here on Benny's Picks. Benny knows. That's what it is. Let's wrap up the 3-pack here, Benny, with another team in Ohio and a guy who's been in the headlines pretty recently.
Listen, Verderame, sometimes, sometimes people have to go through the garbage to find the gold.
It is.
This is what I'm this is what I'm here to do for all the fine KCSN viewers and folks and everybody thereabouts. All right. Final one I want to go through for today is a matchup that is a bit intriguing. You wouldn't necessarily think so. And somebody that purely from a fantasy standpoint, you almost want to say, well, I want to go higher for him almost every time. But Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals, I'm going to take him to go lower than 25.5 completions on the road against the Titans. If I asked you guys, based on their record and based on the overall body of work, where Tennessee ranks amongst top passing defenses in yards per game allowed, where would you say they rank? Just off the top of your head.
Probably pretty high in allowing yards per game, I would say.
Pretty high? So like one of the worst or one of the best?
One of the worst.
One of the worst. Okay.
Yeah.
Verderame?
20th.
They're second best in the NFL.
No.
In passing yards allowed. That's wild, right? Like, absolutely wild. According to FanDuel research, 175.5 yards allowed per game. The Titans, for whatever reason, just whether it's ineptitude on offense, whether it's inability to stop opposing teams in the run game, their pass defense has actually been pretty strong, and they've only allowed one player to throw for more than 300 yards in a game this season. As far as the completions go, Burrow has actually been more efficient with his opportunities and attempts. We've seen a lot of deep passes to Jamar Chase. We've seen a lot of yards after catch. But over the last 3 games, 89 out of 132 passes have been for completion. And the Titans do have an ability to kind of force the issue here. So the question is whether or not the Titans are going to be able to score against Cincinnati. Everyone's been able to score against Cincinnati with the exception of maybe Kansas City this year. It's still mind-boggling to figure out why this awful defense has just been a kryptonite for Patrick Mahomes. But I just look at this matchup and say, Chase Brown's been unbelievable. Tennessee has struggled against the run. Burrow has been efficient with the football. There's going to be yards after catch. 25.5 is one of the higher numbers on the board this week. And if you look at projections around the rest of the league, and as far as some of the other books go, relative to Underdog, you're getting a better number at this 25.5 because we're already starting to see some books move down to 24.5. So this is a numbers play. This is a matchup play. And this is sort of a collective effort on maybe not really viewing the Titans defense the way that I think the public would, which is, well, they suck. So naturally, Burrow's just going to have a field day. He still might have 300 yards, but it could end up being 20 for 26 for 300 yards. So I think the 25.5 completion feels a tad bit high, especially with how the market is reacting to it. So give me lower than 25.5 completions for Joe Burrow this week on the road against Tennessee.
Joe Burrow's got a lot going on right now. It's not this small, which might also, is his head that invested in this game? I mean, mine wouldn't be. Yeah, look, it's going to be, I think this game is a bizarre game in the sense that the Titans are not good, but the Titans also are oddly, somewhat competitive a lot of weeks. So, the question is, do the Bengals blow them out? And then it's one of these deals where, okay, you're just going to run. That to me is kind of the question. Can the Bengals stop Will Levis? I'd hope so. I really would. But who the hell knows? It's the Bengals. But I don't think it's a bad play because I could see a world that the Bengals pull out a game where they're up 30-13 and they're just running the ball for the last quarter and a half.
Yeah. Titans got to stop Sailor Jerry. The Chiefs got to stop Captain Morgan. Benny, appreciate you hopping on and joining us again for your picks. Once again, use that code KCSN at Underdog to get your free pick plus $1,000, up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Benny, appreciate your time.
Always fun, fellas.
Look at the AFC playoff picture here, Matt. We kind of talked about this last week. Pretty set. A big game is going to be this Broncos and Colts game coming up. That's the big one.
Game of its own.
Yes. And look, there's still a path that the Cincinnati Bengals can make the playoffs. And I saw a video about this. I think it was Caleb No over there up in Cincinnati, a TV broadcaster up there is on Chiefs News Daily. He broke down kind of what has to happen. The Broncos have to lose 3 of their 4, which is very possible. They got a tough stretch back half of their schedule, but there's a possibility, Matt, that the Chiefs and Broncos game on week 18, if everything else goes right for the Bengals, if the Chiefs win, it could put the Bengals in the playoffs. I would love nothing more if the Bengals were still alive and the Chiefs
lay out like dogs in that game.
Yes. They have the Broncos win to make the playoffs and the Bengals miss out. That would be hilarious. But this week is a big game with the Broncos and the Colts. If the Broncos win, it's almost certainly set of who the teams are. The Colts win, there's still some hope for some teams in there.
I'm going to tell you right now, the Colts are going to make the playoffs. Have you seen who they're playing the last 2 weeks of the year?
Yes, they have a really bad back half. They have the Titans. I think they have the Jags in there too.
The Jags and the Giants.
The Giants, that's right. Yes.
And Denver has next Thursday at the Chargers, then at the Bengals, then the Chiefs. And if the Colts win out those last 3 games, if they beat Denver, Denver also has to win out. Good luck. The Colts are going to make the damn playoffs if they win this game. And I'm here for watching Anthony Richardson go to Buffalo and just be like, I also can run for 150 yards. Watch this. And just truck one linebacker as Shane Steichen is just running the ball 50 times between Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson. I'll tell you what, if you're the Bills, that is a sneak. I know they already played, but Flacco played in that game, and Flacco had 4 interceptions.
Right. And they almost won. The Colts almost won that game, though, too.
That is not the matchup that I want if I'm the Bills. That is a weird game because the Colts could come in there and just run it down their throat. As one thing with Buffalo, they cannot handle. They are not good against the run.
It's going to be really interesting with the seeding that works out for things, too. Right now, the Ravens sit at the 5 seed. So you really need the Ravens to either win out or lose out if they're going with what's going to happen, because you don't really want to see that, as we mentioned. You don't really want to see them in the divisional round if you're the Chiefs. But look, it could kind of be awesome to see them in the divisional round and just pop them in the divisional round real quick. But right now it is the Chiefs and the Bills have clinched their 2 spots. The Steelers sit in the 3rd spot, and the Texans are in the 4th spot as well. Those 2 divisions, the AFC North and the AFC South, have not yet been won. The East and West have been won already. So we're still waiting on those games as well. Right now, the wild card spots are Ravens, Chargers, and Broncos. Matt, if I would have told you that the AFC West would have 2 wild card teams when the playoffs started at the beginning of the year, I don't know if I would have believed that. The AFC West getting 3 playoff teams in.
I'd have been surprised. I would have thought 2 was possible. 3 would have been stunning. So yeah, I am definitely surprised that that's the case. I did not think Denver or the Raiders would be knocking on heaven's door here, but here we are in week 15. So that's why the NFL is great, because you just don't know, and this is proof of that.
They've got the parity thing figured out that other leagues are trying to figure out. The MLB implemented the lottery system, which, look, the lottery has not worked out for the MLB. People are pissed left and right. No matter what team you're on, you're pissed about the lottery system with the MLB. And the NBA, I think they still try to figure out parity stuff with the rest situation and everything like that. Bad teams seem to stay bad, but the NFL, they've got parity figured out pretty well. They got their draft figured out pretty good too.
Yes. The NBA doesn't. The problem with the NBA is like teams just don't even care.
Right.
They're like, yeah, look at that, we're terrible. Let's just tank.
Yep.
Great. Let's tank every year for 100 years. And then there's my Knicks sitting there 15-10, just plodding along, living the dream.
Our Knicks and Magic had a good matchup. Look, Knicks went off in that game. I'm not gonna lie, but
the Knicks are going to be one of these teams with like 10 games. They're just going to play like that. They're just going to have a game where they hit like 33s, and they're just But yeah, and I know people are clamoring for more Magic Knicks talk on this show. The Knicks, they're chilling. They're right where they need to be. They're fine. They're 15-10. Feel good about it. So, and then there's the Wizards, who are 3-19, and just abominable. It's good. It's really good. Yeah, but I get the NBA. Like, there's very rarely there's a huge surprise in the NBA.
Yeah,
but not typical like there's in the NFL. But no, listen. I think it's going to be very interesting. This is a great slate of games this week. Buffalo, let's get into them.
yes, let's do it.
Ball's back. You had thoughts on Josh Allen?
Yeah, I do. I think that Josh Allen is who all the rest of the NFL fans, all 31 fan bases, think Patrick Mahomes is in terms of wanting officials to call things and getting calls in his favor. It's really what comes to mind to me when I think about Josh Allen is when he was calling for the horse collar before the horse collar happened in that scramble, and it wasn't a horse collar either. And that is one of the things, and you see him flop all the time. There's flopping compilations on there. There's nothing that gets me fired up more, Matt, than fake tough guys. Giannis Antetokounmpo was like this too. I think he's gotten a little bit better about it, but Giannis Antetokounmpo used to talk all this mess, and then when he got on the floor, he would go and he'd flop around, right? That would fire me up. Josh Allen, always trying to get these calls, calling for his horse collar. Watching that game was so frustrating, and everyone is just like, "Oh no, that's a penalty," but they think that's what Patrick Mahomes does, and Patrick Mahomes does not do that. That's the thing. Patrick Mahomes does not flop around when he gets touched in the helmet. He goes after Max Crosby when they go and they go helmet to helmet, right? That situation is what I thought of when I saw that happening. I think, look, I respect Josh Allen in his play. I just don't like that extra theatrical shit that he does with all of the flopping and trying to get the fouls called on him and everything like that. That is what really that's what fires me up, Matt.
It's fair. Bills fans not all Bills fans, but a lot of them have this inferiority complex that goes on with the Chiefs that is bordering now on psychosis. I tweeted out, hey, give Josh Allen the Oscar when he got touched and he just started flailing around like an idiot. And I would have said that about anybody. I would have said that if Mahomes did it, but you're right, he doesn't do it. If he did it, I would have done it. The immediate response to 20 Bills fans, oh, what about Mahomes? I'm like, go show me where he's done it. Go find the clip of Mahomes flopping around like a fish out of water because he got touched. Go show me that play. And you get met with, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, fine. But it is this weird, it's I say psychosis because I saw Josh Allen got engaged recently.
Yes, he did.
Boy, Ellis Steinfeld. Congratulations to him and Haley. And it was announced, I believe, during Sunday football because it was during the bye week. So it got announced the Chiefs were on prime. Who the hell are they playing? The Chiefs were playing Sunday in prime. I can't remember how it was.
It was a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the Chargers. I can't remember who it was. And it was during the Black Friday of the Raiders game, I think.
That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. The amount of Bills fans who are tweeting about oh, he got engaged and announced it during the Chiefs game to troll the Chiefs. I'm like, are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
You think he got engaged and announced the engagement on Twitter during the Chiefs game? So I'm not even sure it's accurate. I have to go back and look. Right. But let's say it was for me. You think he did that to be got one on the Chiefs? It's a massive light thing. Who cares? What?
Yeah.
And all of these people in his mind yeah, I noticed that too. I'm like, you might be the weirdest person alive. What's happening? But I'll take it a different way with the Bills here. Not that I disagree with you because I do agree with you. That last minute of the game, that is why I will never pick the Bills in the playoffs against a real team. That's why. I don't even care that they lost the game. Teams lose games. They haven't lost in 2 months. Fine. It's 44-35. The Bills have all 3 timeouts, and there was just over a minute to go. I can't really, minute 5, something like that. They have the ball at the 1 yard line. Now, if you score a touchdown there, you can kick off. If you can regularly kick, no onside kick, you can kick it off. Bomb to the end zone, no time comes off the clock. And if you stop the Rams, you're getting the ball back with 40 seconds left, and all you need is a field goal. And the way the Rams are playing defense, I'm pretty confident you would at least had a shot.
Yeah.
The Bills run a quarterback sneak there, which, on its face, I get it. Allen is such a bull in a china shop. Okay, fine. But to me, then you need to know immediately, if we do not get it, we are, here's what we're doing. We're going right into either another sneak or a different play or whatever. The Bills run it. They don't get it. And McDermott freaks out and calls for a timeout. And I can genuinely, the second he did it, I'm like, they just lost the game.
Yeah.
What is she doing?
Yeah.
You can't stop the clock. Because in today's day and age, you're not going to get the onside kick. It's 5% chance if that. I'm like, the game just ended. And they scored the next play. They go for the outside. They don't get it. And then they force a punt with, 7 seconds left. They throw only chances to return this punt for a touchdown. The Bills put 9 fucking guys on the field and don't field the punt.
Yep.
And time runs out. What are you doing? I mean, I'll say, people can say whatever they want about the Chiefs, and God knows a lot of it's accurate this year. They would never do either one of those two things. Ever. In a million years. There's not a chance in hell the Chiefs would have blown a timeout in that spot, or would have had 9 guys on the field in a do-or-die play. It's just, and this is a thing that is symptomatic of the Bills forever. They blew the Houston game earlier this year. Ridiculous time management at the end of the football game. Last year, you might remember that Monday night game, they lost at home to Denver.
Oh, yeah.
And they won, except for the fact that they had 12 guys on the field for the field goal unit, and it had to be re-kicked, and then they lost. This is not some one-off. The Bills do this crap all the time. Yeah. They're not organized. They're not buttoned up. And that's cool when you're playing the Jets, because they're also, in case you've missed it, not all that organized and not that buttoned up. But like when you're playing the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, it kind of matters if you're blowing random timeouts in huge spots. Like, you're not going to win. This is why, as talented as they are and as great as Allen's been, and look, if I had to vote, Allen would be my MVP of the league this year.
Play him well.
Okay? But none of it matters when you're in the playoffs. And, like, Allen's awesome, but he's not better than Mahomes. Like,
right.
You don't have the ability to go in there and, excuse the language, but bumblefuck around because you're like, well, what the hell? Timeouts, who needs those? Like, strategy and having 11 guys on the field doesn't really matter. Like, kind of does. Not going to break any news here for most people, but like maybe some people at one Bills drive, kind of matters. Kind of matters. And it's 4 times a year at the Bills they do stuff like this. And yeah, you're going to lose if you do it.
It's a great point, and I know a lot of people kind of there was some consternation, I believe, at the end of last year, kind of about Sean McDermott and his coaching position there, and rightfully so, because you do mention, like, this isn't a new thing. Like, this isn't a new thing with the Sean McDermott Bills in terms of just coaching malpractice and just malpractice in general, especially.
It's decision-making.
Like, yeah.
Like, look, this is like I don't mean this to be funny. Like, I mean this is a serious point. Remember last year, it was actually right before they played the Chiefs. That story came out, Tyler Dunn.
Phenomenal story, by the way.
Yeah.
Tyler Dunn's very good, yes.
Great, does great work. And he put out a story on his page, Go Long, where he detailed that McDermott, I believe it was during training camp, gave a speech saying essentially like praising Al Qaeda for like their ability to like work as a unit and like it's like decision making.
Yeah.
Like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I talk about like John Wooden's UCLA teams.
Right. There's a lot of other examples.
Al Qaeda? Like, are you serious? Like, what? Like, it's stuff like that I just look at them and I'm like, I'm sorry, man. With 5 minutes left in like the AFC Championship game, I don't trust you. I just don't. I don't trust you and I don't trust your team because in spots like that, like for all the Chiefs ridiculousness, I know that in that moment they're going to be buttoned up to the hilt. They're not going to make a big mistake. They're just not going to do it. Like, I remember watching the Ravens last year implode against Kansas City. 5 personal fouls, all this crap. The Chiefs are like, that's great. We're just going to let you beat yourself 60 minutes, and we're going to make one play on defense, Snead, and we're going to make one play on offense to throw to MVS, and we're just going to watch you implode for 60 minutes. That's great. That's fine. I just think, you watch that Bills game, and to me, people walked away from it talking about Allen, 6 touchdowns, talking about the Rams. My biggest long-range takeaway from that is that's why the Bills don't win in January. Crap like that. Stupid errors, dumb mistakes, panic on the sideline. That's why they lose games.
It would take this back to the Chiefs too. I think that's why a lot of people lose to the Chiefs. It's kind of the point that you mentioned. The Chiefs, 5 minutes left in the game, they're cool. Like, these teams press against the Chiefs, and you see it a lot. And I think maybe against the Chiefs and Bills game earlier this year, that was the difference, right? Is like the Bills didn't really press all that much. I thought that actually in the Chiefs-Bills game that Sean McDermott did have some good decision-making in that game. Back in, what was that, October? That game was?
Oh, God.
November? Early November? That was October, wasn't it?
Around Halloween.
Yeah, let's say then. But
that'd be accurate.
That's when the Bills play their best, though. Like, that is every single year. October is the best month that the Buffalo Bills play. The Buffalo Bills, I'll say it now, and maybe you clip this if they don't. The Buffalo Bills don't scare me, Matt, because of the things that you detailed, because of the history of Mahomes beating them in the playoffs. I've not been worried about the Bills all year.
The Bills are the Wile E. Coyote to the Chiefs Roadrunner. The Chiefs are just like, yep, at some point you're just going to like fall off a cliff, put up a sign, then, poof. It's just, I just watch, again, not to beat a dead horse here, but like watching that ending of that game. I said it to my dad in real thing. I was on the phone with him. I'm like, this is why. This is why.
Mhm.
If they see them in the AFC Championship, they swear I'll pick the Chiefs. This is a perfect encapsulation of why. And by the way, we saw it last year in the playoffs when they played each other, and they called for a fake punt, like psychopaths, at their own 30-yard line in a one-score game with a quarter of football left to play. What are you doing? Why? Why would you do? But again, it's panic.
Hmm?
And that is the one thing, as you did, to bring this back to the Chiefs here. That is one thing the Chiefs do better than anybody in football right now is they instill panic.
Yep.
Teams, when they play them, there's an element of oh God, we've got to be perfect. We've got to be. You start to get tight because you just look across the field and there's Mahomes and there's Kelsey and there's Chris Jones and there's Andy and there's Spags. And you feel like everything's got to be perfect and you got to take chances you normally wouldn't take. And that's a huge advantage. It's a huge advantage. I showed my Devils sweatshirt earlier. Okay, for anyone out there, Marty Brodeur, my opinion, greatest goaltender of all time. And by the way, this is Kansas City related because the Devils used to be the Kansas City Scouts. Okay, yep. Know your history, kids. Greatest goaltender I've ever seen in my life. Okay, first ballot fan for people who don't know, 3-time Cup winner, all this stuff, all-time wins leader. There were so many times watching him over the 20 years he played for them. Some guy would come in on a breakaway all by himself and miss the whole freaking net. Because the guy was like, I have to hit a shot in this space or I'm not going to have any chance to score.
Yep.
And instead of just making a good shot, the guy tried to make the perfect shot. Bang, right over the crossbar and into the glass.
Mm-hmm.
Wide of the net. Because Brodeur was in net. If that's some guy, if he's the 15th best goaltender in hockey, you're fine. Average goaltender. You're not thinking like that. You're like, I'm just going to make my shot. But because of who it is, you're like, I have to be perfect. I have to put it just under the crossbar. And then you miss.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chiefs do that as well as any team I've ever seen. I mean, even the Ravens, go back that game. The Justin Tucker thing before the game.
Yeah.
I remember watching that, and I remember distinctly thinking the Chiefs are going to win.
Yeah.
They're going to win the game. They're in their head so bad, the game hasn't even started yet. If you got to do all that crap, you're going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to lose. Harrison Butker wasn't doing that. They don't care. Because in their head, they're like, if we play well, we'll win. Where the Ravens are like, we're going to play mind games with them. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. It's like, great. And then Kelsey threw all of his crap 20 yards. And it was like, no, you're not. And then the Chiefs came out and had 2 perfect drives to start the game. And the Ravens went, oh, my God. And then just panicked for 3 solid quarters.
Yes.
That team was great and freaked out in their own building. That's the studio.
They forgot to run the ball, and that's what they did the best all year last year. They just didn't do it. That's still one of the most mind-boggling things, is that, they just forgot to do what they did best because the Chiefs made them they put them on their back foot. They got punched in the face. And look what Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. They got punched in the face. Their plan went out the window, and they're like, I guess we have to make Lamar Jackson throw 45 times.
And again, you know what?
They didn't have to.
It's a panic. It was a 7-point game in the second quarter, and the Ravens are like, we need to start throwing. We have to go away from our game plan. That's what they do. Like the Chiefs, for all their nonsense. Again, they're the 2000 Dodge Charger, okay? And they're they're not worried about going over the speed limit. They're not worried about taking the little Tokyo drift turn when the road's a little wet.
Right.
It's going to get home. It's going to get home. And that's what they do over and over. It's like, we're not in any rush. We're fine. Go look at the Super Bowl last year. 4th and 1. It's the most Dodge Charger moment of all time for this team. People are freaking out. In any scenario, you're freaking out there. Chiefs are sitting there. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who has done nothing all year until the playoffs anyway.
Right.
Comes into the huddle and goes, I don't know, slide keys. And yeah, what about slide keys? Yeah, let's run that. It's the biggest moment of their lives in football. They do it, no problem. Pick up some yardage, and then just continue to no big plays, no big deep shots, no, not one penalty. Just gonna get it home. Just gonna drive 40 and a 40, and we're just gonna get her home, and that's it. That's what they do. They're amazing at it.
That's a great point to end on. Full circle moment. Matt, we will be back next week with more from this game. We will have again as the holiday season approaches and as these 3 games in 10 days progress, we will have an adjusted schedule for you as well. We'll tweet out at KC Sports Network so we have know what time we're recording and everything like that, getting the show out. We'll try to squeeze one in between the Saturday and Christmas day game. We'll try to do something. But nevertheless, we'll be back next week. We should still be fine. It is a Saturday game, but we'll still should be here with you on Thursday. Look, if you're listening to this on Thursday, we're shopping for the Solar KC raffle and the Operation Breakthrough. We are doing a Christmas shopping experience today with some kids from Operation Breakthrough. Super excited for that. Thank you to everyone who donated, raised over $15,000 this year for the kids at Operation Breakthrough in their Christmas store. And over the past 3 years, we've raised more than $65,000 for Operation Breakthrough. So very appreciative of all of you guys' generous support during this holiday season. For the past 3 years to help out Operation Breakthrough. It's nice to the folks over at Operation Breakthrough to get to meet those people and talk to them, and what they do is a very cool thing that they do at Operation Breakthrough down there in downtown Kansas City. So if you have the chance and the opportunity to do a little bit of research on them, do that. It's an organization Travis Kelce helps out a lot too, and with his Ignition Lab. It's a very cool organization that they have. Kansas City, glad to be a part, just to help out a little bit with their Christmas store and help these kids have a good Christmas. We're going to Dick's Sporting Goods, and we're doing the supermarket sweep, man. We are taking stuff off the shelves, throwing it in the carts. It's a good fun time. It is. It makes you feel powerful, really, when you just go and you're just like, yeah, I'll take all of these. Getting the nice.
At a candy store, unfortunately.
Yeah, so we need
to. I'll take a pallet of Andy's mints. Yes.
Wait, what's our candy store shout out? Is that
Laura Little's Candy Kitchen, baby?
Look, the YouTube comments buzzing about that shout out, by the way.
Yes.
They were like, that place is incredible. They love Laura Little. That's what it is.
Somebody emailed me and we're like, yes, it's my favorite place in the world. I'm like, all right. Where the hell's the sponsor from Laura Little's?
I'll go by and I'll chat up Laura.
A lot of free advertising here. But hey, tell you what, man. I already know, like, we were just talking at SI about different, like, hey, we're going to be covering, playoff games this year and who are we sending where. And I was like, let's be real about this. We know where I'm getting sent. Let's not even pretend.
Uh-huh.
Like you're not sending me out to Seattle, okay? I'll be in Kansas City for any of their home playoff games. And I will be at Joe's barbecue gas station location, of course, and also Laura Little's. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and guess that it might just be good for me to bring out some maternity pants for my trip to Kansas City. Well, elastic waistband there. The problem is, I gotta get like an elastic belt.
Yeah.
Really,
like the baseball belts, the old baseball belts that they have. Yeah, the stretchy. Yeah.
Yeah, I need that. Like, because every time I go to Kansas City, I leave and I'm so satisfied at the food, but I'm also like, oh my God. I go to the gym for like 3 days straight, just run for like 12 solid hours. I'm like, oh. Yeah.
We gotta get you. We'll get you to Chef Jay the next time you come to Kansas City as well.
Yeah, I gotta
try that place.
Actually, that's true.
Try that place out. But that's gonna do it for this week's edition of That Football Show. Thank you to the people who do sponsor this show: Holiday Distillery and Ben Holiday, bottled in bond bourbon. Go check them out. Holiday Distillery's got a lot of great stuff this time of year. They do the little pop-up bar that they have for the holidays and everything like that. Great seasonal cocktails that they have out there at Holiday Distillery up in Weston, Missouri. Just a short drive. Look, and they also film Hallmark movies in Weston, Missouri. They also film them in Independence, apparently, but they also filmed them in Weston, Missouri. The downtown Weston is a beautiful, just picturesque Hallmark movie type downtown. So go check them out. Holiday Distillery. That's going to do it for this week's edition of That Football Show. From Matt Verderame, I'm Tucker Franklin. We will catch you guys next week.